Hey everybody, welcome to a very special episode of Carnival of Randomness. This is, I will call it, our special Thursday Pride Month edition, and it's going to be 4th of July weekend. And Greg is a very festive looking hat that looks like something that either fell through a bunch of paint or came from the 60s.
Actually, Fairport Canal Days purchase years ago.
Oh, there we go. And we're very thrilled to have for you her and her band, Lisa Lowden, because I'm not going to say your middle name because...
Actually, it's Lowden.
Oh, there we go.
How now, brown cow. Lowden.
I pronounce every guest name wrong.
And you don't want to say Commentucci?
No, I bombed it on the other one.
It's Commentucci.
And Steve Lowden
right.
and Walt O'Brien.
Yay.
Cool. And I have to say, before we start, did you know yesterday was the day Dark Shadows started?
Yes, I saw that.
Oh, wow.
The original?
Yep, the original.
Oh.
Yep.
The original.
55 years ago.
Better start binge watching again.
I know, I will.
I want to get the big coffin edition, but I don't want to shell out like $450.
I know.
But the best part of that show is just the little things, like you see the mic.
Oh, it's great.
Or they goof up. The one guy comes walking in. Well, I've been walking for 100,000 miles. I just felt like that. Or Barnabas, I have to tell you my plan. Then I'll get you later. And he goes.
There was a really good documentary on that Dan Clark. Is that his name?
Yes. Yeah. No, Dan Curtis.
Dan Curtis.
Night Stalker. He took into Night Stalker.
And you know how he put that all together and how he talked him into it, and the whole thing. Yeah, the gravestones getting bumped into
rocking
around.
Yeah.
That's the fun, though. That's just the fun of it. It's just amazing.
Well, because of the pandemic, that's one of the reasons I started binge watching it, and because as a child at St. Cecilia's, when I was younger in the 70s, I'd run home, after being taught all my, Catholic things, and then go watch the vampires and the
Saint Stans,
the ghouls.
Well, mine too was like watching Night Stalker. I was terrified. Now I just go, oh, that's good. I see the zipper in the back of the suit. Yeah. There's everything there.
So what we did is, I watched it all, and then I decided we're starting a new album, and it's going to be Dark Shadows, related. The first song, of course, is Dark Shadows. And so we're working on that now, currently.
Okay.
It's going to be very morbid.
Very interesting.
sounding.
Now, you came to this. How did you come to your career? You came about this late, as you told me.
I did. I was 45, went to the spur of the moment, saw Steve and the band playing The Avengers. Do you remember The Avengers back in the day?
Steve and Peel.
I totally don't remember that.
Walt O'Brien, Steve Loudon, Jim Lampert, Eddie Krasinski.
At one point, Jim was in, yeah.
They had
Mike
a lot.
Gerizzo.
Mike Gerizzo. They had a... Yeah, so that's how it started. But I just used to follow him around all the time. And then one day I got, had a couple cocktails and said, I really want to start a band. And that's what happened.
Had a couple.
There you go.
The Imaginary Band.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was doing I've been playing with Jim Lambert a little bit. He's been subbing for Ryan Lindsay, doing some gigs.
Yeah, he's great. He's kind of doing the circuit of everybody in town to play with.
It's hard to find bass players today.
Yeah.
I really, truly believe that. They're not... so we use him. Listen to me. We use Jim Lampert. And we also use... oh, my God. Ken Peters. We did have Ted Paris for a very long time from Rain.
Good. Yeah, I like that.
But he pretty much kind of retired, I think.
Well, then, like Walt, Steve, how did you get started in all this? And
oh dear.
You mean in the beginning?
The music.
Or this?
No, you two were just getting into the music.
Go ahead.
Oh gosh, it's been over 40 years of nonstop this. So I guess I got into it just because my dad had a guitar laying around the house. I was into the Beatles and wanted to learn how to play it.
I've heard so many people are into that Beatles group, I'll tell you.
And other things too, but that was the first. I
don't know if anybody remembers this. It just seemed like the way I got into the Beatles, my brother had a Beatles songbook with the one that he would like that. But also, for some reason, on 4th of July, for many years, XXI would play Yellow Submarine.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, and I have no idea why, but I got into it from that. I only realized of recent date, they're not doing their voices.
Not on that.
Right.
No. And I think the one voice actor died who was just doing it. But it's just so psychedelic, and I get a hole in me pocket.
Yeah.
And then my friends and I would act it out afterwards. Someone would play the Blue Meanies. We'd chase it with sparklers. Then I took my paper route money and I went down to Gold Circle, and the first Beatles album I got was that blue 67 to 71
the
album.
compilation.
You know, it's weird. I have a copy of that album, and it's really strange. I don't know if it's this particular one is worth anything. It's got the wrong songs on one side.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've got a couple singles like that. I went to Grant's, remember them?
Yeah.
And I found a Strawberry Fields single and No Penny Lane on the other side. And then a week later, I went and I found Penny Lane with no Strawberry Fields. And so I bought them both, and I got them in a package now.
Yeah, this
Did
is
you
weird.
glue
It's
them
like-
together?
No,
So that...
I did play them once each, though,
But
to see
Greg,
if it
like
was
in
that
your
song.
case, it's got the Rolling Stones on, doesn't it?
No, right? No, but it's weird. It's like it's supposed to have like, you know, the later stuff, and it's got like the late '60s stuff, like
Yeah.
the
Earlier.
middle '60s stuff.
The best
weird.
out of those stories is a band called Dred Zeppelin. My roommate in Alexandria, they do Led Zeppelin to a reggae beat with the singer called Tord Elvis, who looks like Elvis Presley. And look him up. So I get the CD. It was a Huey Lewis CD.
I gotta bring that bluegrass Zeppelin album that Debbie's got, because you enjoy that.
Didn't Dina have a Beatles album that had somebody else on the other side?
Yeah, she was talking
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
kind of what we're saying here, yeah.
But what
that's her
was it?
sister.
I forget.
It was, I guess they both recorded it at, I forget who it was. Was it the Stones?
Something like that.
It's just weird pressings that probably just get
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
Now, the question we bring up to every band, we have to bring up the big question, of course, is that, okay, you're going along smoothly, then all of a sudden the COVID hits. And what's that like all of a sudden going from the gigs to the basement?
From life to death.
Panic.
Yeah, really.
Well,
Think
it
of
was for us. It was we were also doing the nursing home circuit
Oh, right.
on top of it. So that ended first.
Abruptly, probably.
Yeah, and
Eventually, you'll have a house gig.
They did want us to come back. I have to say, we had to bow out though, because it's really a lot of work. That's an hour gig, and
Yeah.
you're still doing the same setup
Yeah.
and everything else. But it was great doing it for them. But we did a lot of house concerts.
You know Lou Rotundo?
I don't
You
think
know
so.
Lou and Andrea Contestable. I guess they do the same thing.
No, I don't think
they
we
go
know.
around and do the
We
nursing
usually
home.
don't-
I did a couple of those. Fun.
I could get you hooked up.
All right.
If you're interested. I tell everybody, because it's a great gig, and it's wonderful when you do connect.
Yeah.
But when you don't connect, that's the hard
Oh,
part.
I will tell
As
you
an artist,
because,
not that you want to.
I know all those people at Unity. My dad volunteered there. He's loved it. And I took my dad to your gig. Those seniors there, they rock.
They liked it.
They start boogieing. I worry for their health a little bit the way they're dancing around. And they
Well,
get
we've
up
got
dancing
Ted
around.
Lincoln on that gig this year, and that one is on. Let's see here.
They're coming back. Huh.
Yeah, we're coming back on July 14th.
Ah.
You were actually at the one we did last year?
Yeah. No, the one I brought my
Rochester
dad.
Beer
The one
Park.
at
It was
Unity.
a
The
couple
one at
of years.
Unity.
A couple of years
Oh,
ago.
No,
that's what
he
you're
was at
talking about.
Unity.
I was at Unity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my dad over. We had my dad over there, and everybody. And everybody's rocking out and everything else.
I always wondered what it sounded like.
The
It's like an amp on a
villages.
table going into my
I
vocal.
know. I was going. Is this a and a lot
It
of
didn't
people.
sound. It sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we'd play at those nursing homes, and we play older stuff, so we'd see like a mom and her daughter kind of like singing along, or
Yeah, that's cool.
So there were a lot of cool connections like that to observe. While
And
we
it's
were
probably
doing it.
weird too, 'cause, like your long-term memory tends to be working better than your short-term memory. So I bet you a lot of these people
yeah.
they're hearing all these songs and they're remembering them.
Oh yeah, they do.
You know.
They do.
Well, I'm like the
I'm
weird.
like that.
I'm like the weird, obscure local music person. So I'm going. This is different for me. Actually,
Well, we used to play at St. John's Home, and there was a gentleman in the crowd all the time, and after every concert Steve and I would do, he'd go, "Young lady," he was from New Orleans. "Yeah, I'm telling you, your voice," and he was just a sweetheart. Come to find out, who did he play with?
Duke Ellington.
Duke Ellington.
Oh,
He
great.
sang with Duke Ellington.
Wow. So that's
Yeah.
a good compliment.
So I was like, "Oh my goodness," I mean, that was just thrilling.
And
for
somehow
me.
I'm thinking you like Stevie Nicks.
I do, but you know what? I didn't start off. I never even listened to her back in the 70s.
I'm shocked.
I was into Genesis and Gentle Giant and
All right.
Well, that's a
Weather
good question.
Report.
How did you come? How did you come to doing like you would call like your folk, like 1960s, 70s rock, going from progressive?
Well, I was into, like the Cat Stevens and all that stuff back in the day. But Steve, I don't even know how that really happened. And as far as the Stevie thing goes, I just started singing her and everybody went, wait a minute, you have her timbre.
Yeah.
So,
even on stage, that's
you
what I
might
think
as
about,
well.
the way you go around, like the way you
Well, I'm
carry
a
yourself on
dancer.
stage. You know.
See, I was a dancer for 20 years. So being a dancer, now I'm able to, less the hip pain, I can get around pretty good.
You do the twirl.
Do my twirls with my
Oh, I get it
scarves.
now, too, on my walks. You start feeling it, going, no. But you could do, like, if you did Genesis, all you'd have to do, if you did old Genesis, you could do, like, 2.5 hours and 5 songs.
Yeah. Well, did you? We used to go see The Waiting Room.
Oh, I
Oh, yeah.
One of my
Lovely
friends, I guess Josh is his cousin. The singer's
Oh, I
name
love
was
Josh.
And he said we would go see him. They would play Thanksgiving Eve all the time.
Yeah, all the time at
And they
Water
would switch
Street.
up all the time. They would do
I was
sometimes
up front
Peter Gabriel.
all the time.
And the one time, you remember the one time at the German house, the sound system went down on them. They did the free show because of it.
Yes.
But that was like, especially if you like the old stuff.
Well, that was my second concert. I saw Foxtrot at the auditorium. Front row.
It's a great album.
And I was 14. I had no idea what the heck I was saying. And my mouth Peter Gabriel, the band was just... Then the next year I saw Selling England by the Pound. How can you not love that stuff if you're started off with that? I listened to the Beatles. I listened to it all because my sister was older, but that kind of stuff was...
I think a lot of us got into progressive stuff because that was so prevalent. I saw Gentle Giant on tour probably four times.
Did you? Oh, God.
They were here a bunch of times.
I don't think I ever did get to see them.
And it's weird, man. Those guys, while they're playing, they're all stomping their feet because they got all these weird time signatures going on.
It is
So they're
weird,
all
yeah.
I always get to tell the one Peter Gabriel story I know. My friend Sammy does security for various concerts, right? So when Peter's playing the War Memorial, Peter likes to go biking. So he had to go run. He jogged with them while he was biking around Rochester.
Oh my God.
So they get back to like the little garage at the War Memorial, right? And Sammy's dying. But he said, man, it's the job. It's the job. He's dying. Peter Gabriel's laughing his head off. And he looks. He says, "What's so funny? What?" He goes, the whole tour. You're the first one who made it the whole way.
That's funny.
Did you ever hear the story Tony Levin told about? There's a couple good ones. One time Peter Gabriel calls him and he goes, "I have a really small gig. You have time to play?" He's like, "I really don't have time. If it's a small gig, don't worry." He sees him on TV playing in front of 4 billion people for the Olympics.
Oh!
And the other one was, he's like, "Well, what's Peter Gabriel doing?" "Oh, he's in Atlanta working with his monkeys. I guess he was getting monkeys to play piano parts and sing what they did."
He's amazing.
He's an artsy guy.
He's amazing. He really is.
Oh, I saw him here on, you would call it would be the one with Games Without Frontiers.
Oh, yeah.
When they just was Peter Gabriel. And they made him name an album, so he called it So.
Yeah, I know that. None of his albums had titles. They were all
Really?
just Peter Gabriel. Yeah, I remember reading that. It was like
Very
interesting.
unpretentious, very.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, you started with your brother
Right?
playing. He was how old? 12, 13 when he first played in his first bar.
It was a little different then.
Yeah.
What was the name of the band?
Just keep your head down.
You ready for this?
Dead Fish.
How many fish?
10,000 Dead Lake Ontario Fish Band.
That was actually the whole name.
That was
These are
his
all-
first band.
This
He was-
sounds like all the
Mercury
stuff.
Blues.
Every one of these names, like the imaginary band, sounds like something that would be on Frank Zappa's label. It all sounds like. That's a good one. I like that one.
Wasn't that great?
Then it was the Tunes, and then Brett had a band, Aces and Eights, for a really long time. I met Walt, like 81.
Yeah,
The
81 or 2.
Insiders, right?
The Insiders,
The Ponds. Then you did the Ponds.
and we had the Ponds thing.
Well, were you part of the 28 if thing?
No, that was Bob Janik and Joey Centurino, who I play with in Inside Out now. He was
okay.
involved with that.
Okay.
And Ray Paul, I think. Yeah, I think it was
Okay.
those three.
I
So
wasn't sure.
one thing we've been talking about lately, like, what are some of the clubs you played in those? We've actually been going down memory lane about that, like the Casablanca, Idols, Orange Monkey, all those places.
We were just talking about how none of them are left.
Yeah.
Red Creek.
Mason Jar.
The Mason Jar.
Yeah, I
was
remember
great.
that. Thing was, you'd hear on the radio, you'd always remember on the radio, you'd hear, playing at the Mason Jar,
Yeah.
playing at Red Creek, I guess, too. They had the grease stripping in the
Yeah, we
basement.
played with Badfinger at the Mason Jar.
Right there on Jefferson Road, you
Yeah.
had a bunch of places. Orange Monkey was there, right? Red
Parliament.
Creek.
Right. Yeah.
Parliament was out that way.
Casablanca was down there because that's the one I remember.
Parliament
across
was a
from
big
MCC,
place.
yeah.
Yeah, that was where El Torito's was, I think, afterwards. 'Cause
Played
that was
there
one of my
many
big,
times.
Vague memories.
big drink.
I mean, real vague.
Oh, really? From college, those
You
margaritas
used
and
to play
everything.
there like on
And it was a lot
Sundays,
easier to
right?
drive to
Every-
Henrietta back
I
then.
think it was
You didn't
Wednesdays,
worry
and then we
about
did do
getting
occasional
busted
Sundays.
and
But we
pulled
had a
over.
thing.
You've
where we
been
were
playing
every
for a long
Wednesday
time, too.
Yeah.
1,000 years, it seemed like.
I started too late in life.
Yeah, but oh no, you did. You said it right
I
on
started in high
time.
school.
Well, they've been waiting. I started at 45. I'm 62 now, so everybody's been waiting for me to get a little jaded, and it's starting.
Yeah, you're behind on
Yeah,
that.
she's got a lot of catching up to
I'm
do.
getting there occasionally.
So
you know.
what were your first gigs like? You playing?
Our first gig was at a little coffee house on East Henrietta Road called Blue Sunday, and it was a coffee house / bookstore. So it was, and this was me. I was like this. I was so shy. I had my eyes closed because, I never heard myself on the mic,
Right.
and it was. So then after that, we did a lot of free stuff, and
Coffee shops
coffee
and-
shops were like $35 because it was
Yeah.
Bob Janik, Susan Janik, and Steve and I. We did Entwined, and we'd get like $35 for 3 hours.
These would these
Kind of like now.
would these be covers or like some original stuff?
No, always covers back then. Yeah. We still. I very rarely pull out the originals. We should.
Well, that's one
But-
thing I have to because I have it right here with
Okay,
me.
go ahead.
Perhaps I'm a Raincloud.
Yes, that's
And
me.
it's very good. And now, how did this come about? And these are all. I know you have the little note here. The last two songs are not mine, but anything else?
Yeah, we slip those in. Well, when I first started all this, music stuff, I've been writing poetry for years, kind of like Stevie Nicks does. She's always writing in her books, and then I decided let's try to do something creative. So we went in Walt's apartment and took a whole year and recorded.
Did it take that long?
Yeah, it was a whole year, Sundays.
Not straight. Just a year of Sundays, not every day.
Sundays.
That's a lot. That's actually, I dabbled in filmmaking, and I know like there's a
had a
thing
lot of
called Odessa Films in Canada. They've done films like Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, but he came to Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace. But anyways, the director came to the Eastman, and he explained it took over 2.5 years to do Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter because why? People worked. They had a bar they let them use on Sundays, so they would just come and film every week. People had jobs.
Well, you know, it's a good way to do it. I mean, we had a lot of fun, and it was something to look forward to.
Yeah, and it wasn't like we were scrutinizing every note or anything.
it was just-
I could have done it a lot sooner if we weren't screwing around so much.
Walt and Steve did all the instruments, and I occasionally would do a couple little funny things or whatever.
I mean, how do you like the process, Greg? Do you prefer just to run right in and do it, or just wait and go back and like do the?
Oh, recording?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever seems to be the du jour event. I mean, it's like sometimes you're all set. Today we're doing vocals, okay, and you gear your head for that, or sometimes you just do the drum tracks. I mean, for this last thing with Brian Lindsay, it was weird, man, because it was right before the pandemic. We did what did he do? He had like 8 or 9 songs. He had like 8 or 9 songs. I did all the drum tracks in one session. It was like 2-3 hours. Bang! I did like 4 takes of each or 3 takes of each, and then was that. I mean, it was weird. It was like I had to really know the songs.
It would be like the Brian Wilson method, where you might call you in, okay, hit the cowbell once and leave.
Yeah.
Something like that. But when I was growing up, I'm really familiar with the recording process now because of the studio and all the magic tricks. But back then, I always thought bands would come in and just play.
Well, sometimes
know.
they do.
Sometimes you do.
Tom Waits mule variations in a barn.
I haven't
Some
done-
producers
done
like
any,
that approach.
Any real recording in a long time, but I suppose if I was going to do it, if I was going to just do a basic rock and roll song, I'd just go in and play it live, and the immediacy would be the point.
Right.
But if I was going to do some kind of production song, I'd probably put more time and thinking into it.
Yeah, I find the process fascinating now because I've gotten involved with it.
And I'm a big double track mama. Everybody, Steve calls me the one track. I love double tracking my voice because it just adds something
it's
to
cool.
it. I
And are
really
you
like
like one of? Do you do like? Are you a Stanley Kubrick, or where you do like about 120 takes, or you
No.
just do like one
No.
or two?
If you listen to this CD, you'll
I'm a
know
one-
that that's not true.
I'm a one-track mama. Everything is what we don't. I try not to go back and scrutinize every single song. So what happens is magic.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't.
I
I don't think music. I don't think
It's magic for
I don't
me.
think it's supposed to be perfect.
I like it.
No,
not
I
perfect.
like sloppy. That's why I
I
always
like
say
to hear little things sometimes.
one of my
Remember when that
favorite
happened?
bands is the Faces, and I always say, listen to it. It's rock and roll. They're sloppy. They're messed up. It's not perfect. That's rock and roll.
Yep.
Go see something classic if you don't watch.
Yeah, it gets a little too
I would say
sterile.
it's allowed to be that way, but preferably not.
Yeah,
But I, you
some,
know,
some producers do that though. They like some are very meticulous. Like I guess the Def Leppard stuff was like they piece it together and
Well-
but I mean like the Van Halen early stuff, they were pretty much all playing and the vocals were the only thing that were separate.
well, I guess Don Felder said in his book one of the things with Don Henley was that he just everything has to be perfect. So
Right.
it has to be note for note. And he said fans come probably to hear you improvise to do something different. Why would you just do this when you could hear it on the? That's what Don Henley wanted.
Yeah, he's not high on my list of drummers, to be honest with you. I don't think he's got a very. He's not a really super skilled drummer, but I mean he's good at what he does. He's great at what he does. He's got
He
a great
sings
voice.
too during it, which
he's
gets
got a
me
great
with the
voice
kid.
is amazing.
But just if you watch him play, he's all like tight and weird, and he's not a very.
That's the one
fluid
thing I'm
drummer.
always amazed when any of you drummers sing. It just
It's hard, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah.
It's any type of
Walt,
multitasking.
Oh, that's
kind
what
of
I'd like to.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to talk about,
Yeah.
though. See, with Nightfall After Dark, what we decided to do is we start off acoustic. So Steve plays acoustic guitar, Walt plays drums.
Oh, cool.
And-
That's neat.
So we start off like that. Then the next set, then we switch. Then Walt plays electric guitar and Steve plays drums. And now it changes the whole
Yeah.
feeling of the night. It's just
That's kind of cool.
it is great.
And I just figured out I goofed your name up because I used to call Loudon Wainwright Luden Wainwright, so it's the same thing. But I love the name too. I love the name. It brings up such cool imagery. Nightfall After Dark, just like the cool picture on your album cover here.
Thank you.
Just very cool name.
Thank you very much.
But that's another thing I talk about in terms of like doing cover songs. I think there's a difference to me with tribute bands and people who do cover songs where you can make them a bit of your own and put your own spin on them. If you go see a tribute band, you want to hear
Everything exact.
exactly like my good friend Rob Mount. He played for Lou Graham and he did 50-50, 5-0, and he you come to see those, you want to hear exactly where you could put your own spin on those. Which you
Right.
could do like a little bit like a Dylan did last time I saw him when I didn't recognize like a Rolling Stone because the way he played it, he got halfway through the song.
Well, he changes a lot of
Oh,
things. in his
some of
tunes.
those
They're
songs,
almost not the
I,
same.
I've heard. I was just sitting there. What is he playing? Oh, it's Ain't Me, Babe.
Yeah.
No, but you can put your own spin on them
Right.
and everything. And I think people, because if you say like, say you're saying, okay, songs of Fleetwood Mac, songs of the Carpenters, people are going on over here and they're going to get upset if you do like.
we get as close as we can, but again, because of the way we are, and we're really comedians, and there's times I want to be as natural as possible. If we don't
Right.
start off right, we'll all just look at each other, and go, okay,
Better do that again.
Let's try that again.
You know
it's
what?
okay.
I
People
think you
laugh,
actually.
they
I
love
think
it.
you. I think you played one song out of order at Unity. You went back. I think you announced the wrong song. You started singing
Probably.
the other one.
I mean, it puts you on the level of you're not trying to be like over anybody.
Right.
People relate to that. They go, "Wow, they're just like
Well, because,
us."
right, exactly.
You
Because
know,
I mean, first of all, no offense to Rochester, but we are in Rochester.
Right.
We're not in
Right.
know,
Yeah, you got to be keep
Beverly
that in
Hills or
perspective.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just think that it's if you take yourself too seriously, then you can't really.
And it's also
enjoy them.
I've been in some concert where you have
Very
some
true.
people who won't be mentioned, like Ryan Adams, who just you start yelling at the crowd or get like.
Yelling at them.
Oh, one woman yelled something at. He went on, and I saw him in Cleveland. He went on this poor girl the whole show where he kept going back. She yelled something during the song. He goes, what does somebody like this think? When they get up in the morning, I'm gonna go wreck this for everybody today. And he just kept going back, and he wouldn't stop.
Well, why? What did
He
she
must have
say?
been in
She
a
just yelled
bad
or something.
mood.
All she did was...
Good thing he wasn't in the Beatles.
Oh, I had
Thousands.
one of my friends. Yeah, one of my friends saw him at some festival. His friends, when he warned him, said, "Okay, this guy could be a little, Ryan Adamsy." He plays 3 songs. He starts laughing. Goes, I haven't taken my med in a couple days, and he walks off stage.
Oh, that could be it.
Like that. So,
I would never do that to people. You
know
know
what?
that's ridiculous.
I mean, we all get stressed out sometimes if we're playing a lot and you're traveling. I mean, I did road stuff. I was on the road for 7 years. But it's like,
Wow.
If you
GPS,
really,
Greg, GPS.
if you I didn't know where I was. I was just on a road.
Just driving wherever I'm going. I don't know.
Hey, there's a bar. They go,
Stop off here.
listen to me.
But if you really, sometimes I don't. If you don't like it, then you should probably stop doing it.
Right.
And if you're going to take it out on the audience, I don't know. I don't really get off on that too much.
But
It's
yeah.
there's other things you can be doing. If you're,
Exactly.
you want to do this, and you got to get with your audience. I mean, you can't put yourself above them, like what we're talking about.
Right.
So,
Well,
anyway.
see, the Lindsey Buckingham thing, he just, there was just way too much personal stuff going on. Because, when they first split, he was, really rude to Stevie.
Right.
Tripped her and stuff on stage. And all
Really?
kinds of, he was
pretty
horrible.
nasty.
Well, he seems like a big,
And then,
huge megalomaniac.
they went in the back and what's her name?
Christine
Christine
McVie.
McVie slapped him across the face and said, "Don't ever do that at our gig again because
Right.
that's totally unprofessional. That's ridiculous."
And if you trot out your own songs during your shows, or just specific shows?
sometimes, yeah.
Not very often. We haven't
Some
done it very
songs.
often.
Because I always think you probably, it's for the audience. Like, say you're playing at some place where they're used to more original music, you add more, and where they expect cover songs.
We
Some of
may
those
do it we play Sonnenberg Gardens once a year, and
Beautiful place.
Yeah, we may do a couple originals there, but we try. The thing is, everybody wants to hear,
Most of the places we play, people want to
They're
hear
like
hear
dreams,
songs they
and-
know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the
I
weird
just
thing
wanna
about
make
this
people
town.
happy.
There's the mix where we like a lot of cover bands here. Where there's us original music people who go to the underground thing, and I think that's like 2 different communities in a way.
It
and
is,
I always
really.
try to breach it by trying to get friends to come out, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, there's this, something they just all get the let out, I guess."
Yeah, they
play
just
this
were there.
song.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, I didn't see it.
No, I don't go to things like that. I go to original music, but I'll go to see other cover things like that. But it's just trying to get people, introduce them to something different, which bothers
Well,
me.
and you guys know. I mean, you all know because they've all done originals for a long time. Walt's got a lot of great originals out there.
Yeah. Well, they're not out there. They're in my house on a tape.
So go over to Walt and say, "Hey, play this."
Yeah, but
tape."
wasn't there one that didn't you sell one to?
Yeah, It's My Party. I didn't really sell it. I let them have it.
You let them
Kinda.
have it.
Yeah.
I have this concept too, and I know,
That was
like,
nice of you.
seeing like a lot of your posts, you were
Well, I
like
was supposed to
you're
get
like a very
royalties
good
on it, but
cooking
never sold.
genius. in
Oh
a
my
way.
gosh, yeah, I love.
So I had the idea, like with Greg, we were talking about
You're
this
Italian.
we were talking about this with Cinnamon Jones. There's that one musician, G in the Special Sauce, who cooks on stage. You have Greg with a pot stirring it with his drum set over here, and you, while you cook it all
I'll
up.
be dancing around.
Well, there's the blues guy that does the gumbo.
Yeah, it's
I've heard
Mr. G in
right.
Special Sauce. I think.
I've heard of them, but I didn't know he actually cooks on
He
stage.
cooks on
I didn't know
stage.
that.
He
I've
comes to
never seen him.
Jazz Fest. He cooks.
hilarious.
He cooks and then he gives it to the audience. Where I would just order a bunch of pizzas instead of.
There you go. I think it's good though that original music is more accepted now, especially around here. I mean, it's not before. It used to be like you had to play all this top 40 stuff, and now it's just like little by little. Everybody's gotten a little more mature, and people they study music or they get more influences and the internet and everything else. I think it's just great.
and it's wonderful to see that and to see people
don't empty
sitting
your
there
room.
watching
Yeah.
a show.
That's a big thing. Somebody said to me the other day, it's like they'd like to play the little because people really listen to the music.
Right.
And I was talking, my friend just had an EP release at a lodge we had to set up, and we were talking about this going, he said, like, people were throwing balloons around. He said, it's hard for me to play because I'm concentrating on the balloons. You like when the audience is into it.
Squirrel.
Not just, like that, like attentive audiences, and when they come up to you and say, hey, that was really cool.
However, you know what bases a lot of that not being able to do a lot of original music is the club owners. I have to be honest. You know, they're like, how many people can you bring in?
Right.
Well, that's their main.
Right.
You know, so if you know, okay, well, you know, I'll try to pull in 200 people with my originals.
No,
you know,
right.
that's the hard part.
Go get some Girl Scout cookies. Lay out some Thin Mints and lay them all the way to the door.
You know,
Free beer.
Free gumbo.
Free beer.
That's another question, Lisa. I was going to ask you. I know I joke with you about it being a booking machine and all that, but what is actually is your process? Is it just being tenacious or persistent?
No,
or
I just
how do you approach it as far as like, hey, you know, we got this thing, and
frankly, I just go through Facebook. And I have a little press, online press kit, and I just write to them and say, this is what we're about. This is what we have. If you're interested.
But you're not even that much looking now. It's more like we're getting calls now.
Right.
But when
Once
I do, that's how I do it. I don't go pounding the pavement anymore. I did that in the beginning.
Right,
That's
right,
ridiculous because they
right.
look at you like you're from outer space.
And I still think I go in a little ways. I go word of mouth about music and stuff. I know it's all over the place, and I think there's so much we can. Like Greg, the iHeart Music Festival, Billie Eilish is going to be there.
Oh, thanks. Good. I'll be.
That's our joke. But you go from friends like Josh Nesky told me about the Fruit Bats, and that's how I still go. What do you listen to? What are you listening to? And the thing was, I grew up I went to a Catholic high school, Catholic grammar school in the suburbs. So you were pigeonholed, like whatever you liked. And I was like the weird kid. And I remember like trying to make a gun club tape for a friend of mine who was a big metalhead. And he comes back with it. He's like, Rob, that gun club sucked. And, you would have things in your locker, but you'd have to be a metalhead, an alternative person, into something else. And nobody branched out. You would just say, give it a listen. Give it a listen.
Try being a Three Dog Night guy.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to beat you up.
Because that's what I'm big about, experiencing things you don't know because you might like it. And going and you said, yes, you like this, so go try this. It might be really good.
Well, Steve plays the Carpenters, so does Walt now. And I don't think they
I don't think I ever would have
until they met me.
Not that I like them. I have their.
All I can hear. Well, Greg plays them all the time, but Susie calls it groupie, not superstar.
Yeah.
And actually, my friend Megan Taylor plays it too. So there's a couple, because I know Megan's she's like a 80s rocker, punk sort of new wave, but she loves like John Denver, the Carpenters, all this stuff. Because if it's good, it's good. That's the big thing.
I like the Leon Russell version a little better, though, in a way. I mean, it's different, but the Carpenters one is a lot smoother.
Of Superstar?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard
Leon Russell
Leon's.
wrote it.
Oh, I have.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I love
But
Leon,
it's like, it's way
gosh.
different. It's like he's got like this, like a 16th note ride cymbal thing going on.
Really?
It's in a ballad. It's a very strange.
Oh, I gotta hear it.
And again,
now.
talking
Now
about
I'm-
variety of music,
I'll
I'll go on
forget.
about how I saw Motorhead at the Penny Arcade. I stayed outside because it was so loud, stuff like that. But
I was at that show. I couldn't stand it. Man.
I was in the parking lot.
I was outside the door looking in. You could hear it more than fine.
Yeah, I was
My
fine.
ears were bleeding, man.
No,
I've
done that, but then for me, still, I would say in the top 5 best shows I've ever seen was Elton John. I thought he put on an incredible show.
Actually, I've seen so many. Besides the 2 Genesis concerts, I have to say the best one we've ever seen was the All Star Band, Ringo Starr.
Oh, that was great. I saw the Todd
Which
Rundgren
one did we see with?
We saw the one with Edgar. It had Edgar Winter in it.
and Gary Wright.
Gary Wright.
About
was
what
in
year
it.
would that have been? Do you think?
And Gary
was kind of one of the later ones.
Oh, yeah, from Procol
I saw him in '89, so I probably saw him early.
I love him.
Yeah, he's great.
Love.
But one of my friends,
90s.
Sammy, again, after he stopped doing security, he starts going to all the big shows because he said, I never got to watch him. I had to turn my head like this. So he said the best show he saw, this would have been maybe 3-4 years ago, was Fleetwood Mac in Buffalo. And he said it took them a couple to get started, but once they got going, they
I
were
saw
pros.
that concert. It was good.
They were pros.
Yeah, they're good. They were good. I mean, they still are, but even with the new guys. But again, it's
And it's not Peter Green, obviously,
No.
and the old stuff like that.
Now when we do a show. We try to do a show once a year of Fleetwood Mac / Tom Petty. We'll be doing one at Stutson. What is it? 75 Stutson.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun place to play.
September, I think it's 18th. Tickets will be available close to that, but we do Peter Green stuff because we do Black Magic Woman. We do, because you gotta,
Yep.
that was the start of it all.
And I think you impress a lot because there's always like that 1 or 2, 3 people out there who go, wow, that's the stuff I really like, and they're playing it, not just like what you expect. And I
Right?
think
Yeah.
that's
No,
like,
I don't like to. I like to do one-hit wonders.
it's like wearing
really.
that Halloween. It's like wearing that Halloween costume, like the one year the Quitters dressed for the Life Aquatic from Steve Zissou. And I'm going, that's hands. It's like, hey.
I think it's cool that you have conceptual things. Like we're going to do this set of this, or that shows. I mean, thought number one, but it's also good that it's just we're not just throwing a bunch of songs out there. There's a method to it, and
no, we have fun too, and we bring together a lot of fun musicians too. So that's what I like.
That's what it's all about. I think having fun, entertaining people. But what's coming up for all of you now? You have a lot of stuff, and how can we get a hold of all your stuff? Just find you on Facebook.
Yep. Our website is nightfallband.us. But we have 3 bands. So we got the duo and the trio and the full band. This Tuesday, Steve and I are at Titus Tavern. And then Walt, myself, and Steve are going to be at Rochester Beer Park on the 4th of July.
I have to check that one
at
out.
noon.
Does that go till 3? Till 3 o'clock?
Yeah, noon to 3. Yeah, honey, got to get up early.
Yeah, drink early.
And then I'm excited.
Start at 10.
I'm excited about the July 10th. We're going to be at the Williamson Apple Blossom Festival, which I'm
Nice.
excited about. And then we mentioned the Village of Unity and Marges on the 22nd. That's the trio.
I mean, people will get out for that one after my other one with Meg Williams was rained out. But very cool. Thanks for coming down, everybody.
you
And we
so
are
much.
cutting this a little early because we have a special treat. We're getting rid of me, so no applause. And they're going to play a couple songs. You want to say what you're going to play first to surprise everybody?
We're going to play No Regrets from the album Perhaps I'm a Raincloud.
And cool. And thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you
man.
so
Thanks.
much.
Walt, thank you
Steve,
for having
Lisa,
us.
and I'm out of here, so stop
It was a
cheering,
pleasure.
everybody.
Okay.
I'm going to sit here. I'm going to stay right here and get in the way.
can stay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Words, only notions, going through the motions, always keeping the faith. Look beyond what I see, seeing that it's only me. Again, I'm keeping the faith. Throw the old away, keep only what is yours. Don't forget, no regrets. Throw the old away, keep only what is yours. Honest words only spoken, feeling like I've been woken. Now I'm keeping the faith. He'll reach the meaning, seeing is believing. Bright day shine, we're keeping the faith. Throw the old away, keep only what is yours. Don't forget, no regrets. Throw the old away, keep only what is yours. Words, only notions, going through the motions, always keeping the faith. what I see, seeing that it's only me again. I'm keeping the faith. Throw it all away. Keep only what is yours. Don't forget, no regrets. Throw the old away. Keep only what is yours. Don't forget, no regrets, no regrets.